Admiral James Walker gazed through the enormous viewport of the Earth Defense Force vessel Relentless, studying the huge space station floating before him. The Galactic Council headquarters gleamed against the sea of stars, its curved sections extending outward like some immense mechanical bloom. A decade earlier, when humanity first became council members, this sight had sparked genuine optimism within him. Now, it only stirred bitter frustration deep in his chest. "Admiral, you need to look at this." Lieutenant Kira Reed burst onto the observation deck, her complexion drained of color. She gripped a small data device as though it might scorch her skin. Walker turned away from the viewport. Reed wasn't the type to lose her composure easily. Whatever information she'd discovered must be genuinely alarming. "What have you got, Lieutenant?" "Our intelligence team finally cracked the code on those odd transmissions we picked up last month." She passed him the device with steady hands, though fear clouded her expression. "It's far worse than we expected, sir." Walker accepted the device and started reviewing the contents. Each swipe revealed something more troubling, hardening his features. The information displayed intricate schemes, covert gatherings, and concealed arrangements between the Council's most influential powers. The Morans with their 3,000-year-old civilization, the Vex with their advanced weaponry, all conspiring against humanity and its settlements. "They're scared of us," Walker murmured. Reed agreed with a nod. "Absolutely, sir. These records indicate they believe humanity is progressing far too rapidly. The Morans needed 5 centuries to create faster-than-light travel. We managed it in under 200 years. Walker kept scrolling, his attention catching on a particular timestamp. "This indicates they're planning to strike our frontier settlements in 48 hours. His head snapped up, all disguised as criminal raids. "Correct, sir. They'll strike New Mars, Europa Station, and the Titan mining operation at the same moment. The assaults will seem random, but they're calculated to cripple our supply network." Walker set down the device and returned to the viewport. The beautiful station now resembled a hunter waiting to pounce. For a decade, humanity had offered their innovations, conducted honest trade, and battled beside other races against shared enemies. They'd believed the Council's promises about galactic harmony and partnership. "All deception. Contact Earth's Central Command right away," Walker commanded. "Top priority. Transmit everything we've discovered." "Already completed, sir." Reed paused before continuing. "There's additional information. The Morans have been copying our innovations. Those new protective systems they unveiled last year. They're built on Dr. Miller's blueprints that were supposedly dismissed by the Council as too unreliable." Walker felt no shock. Humanity had always excelled at discovering creative answers to challenges. Their innovations often appeared crude to the more established races, but they functioned. Sometimes they functioned superior to the meticulous traditional approaches the older civilizations favored. "Sir, what do you expect Earth Command will decide?" Walker stared at the station. "The logical approach would be to attack first, strike their critical military locations before they can coordinate. But that means conflict with the whole Council." "Perhaps not. Review these records once more. Many smaller Council members aren't involved in this scheme. Some might even become targets after they eliminate us." Reed's device chimed. She glanced at it and her expression changed. "Earth Command is organizing an urgent gathering of all top military and political officials. They're requesting you participate through protected connection." Walker acknowledged. "Arrange it in my quarters. And Reed, don't mention this to anyone yet. Not even our other officers." 6 hours passed before Walker stepped out of his quarters. His uniform looked wrinkled and dark shadows had appeared beneath his eyes. Reed waited outside, her stance rigid with worry. "What was their decision, sir?" Walker inhaled deeply, something never attempted before. "We're offering them a single opportunity to stand down." "The Council, sir? With all due respect, they outnumber us 57-1. A slight, firm smile crossed Walker's features. "Numbers don't tell the whole story, Lieutenant." He gave her a fresh data device. "These are your instructions. Ready the vessel for instant departure. But first, I need you to personally deliver a message to Ambassador Grant on the station. Face-to-face, not through normal channels. Inform him Operation Sunflare is now live." Reed took the device, confusion showing on her face. "Operation Sunflare?" I'm not aware of that procedure. It's been inactive since before you joined my team, a backup strategy we prayed we'd never implement. Walker glanced back toward the viewport. Though the station wasn't visible from this section of the vessel, the Council believes they understand what humanity is capable of. They've examined our weapons, our ships, our strategies. He faced Reed again, his expression showing a resolve that made her stand taller. But they've never witnessed what occurs when humanity faces true danger. They assume they're confronting just another inexperienced race eager to satisfy the galactic community. His voice lowered. They're about to discover they're facing survivors. Earth wasn't some peaceful paradise like the Morian homeworld. We developed fighting ourselves, nature, sickness, catastrophe. We've been ready for danger our whole existence. What precisely will we do, sir? Ambassador Grant will present our conditions tomorrow during the high session when all members attend. The Council will have 24 hours to satisfy our requirements. And if they decline, Walker's expression showed no feeling now, only cold determination. Then we demonstrate why they should have left humanity alone. Reed saluted and moved to execute her instructions, but stopped at the entrance. Sir, do you believe they'll agree? Walker reviewed the information again, the detailed schemes for humanity's restriction and eventual conquest. He considered Earth's history, filled with those who misjudged their opponents and suffered for it. No, Lieutenant, I believe they won't, but we'll offer them the opportunity regardless. He straightened his uniform. That's what makes us different. We'll propose peace initially, but they won't appreciate what comes next if they refuse. Reed acknowledged and departed. Admiral Walker returned to the viewport, watching as the Relentless shifted its angle, bringing the Galactic Council station back into sight. You should have examined our past more thoroughly. He whispered toward the distant figures he knew were scheming inside that station. You're not the first to assume humanity was simple prey. He triggered his device. Bridge, plot course for the meeting coordinates. The moment Lieutenant Reed gets back from the station with Ambassador Grant, we depart. The treachery was underway, but so was humanity's answer, and shortly the entire galaxy would recall why the old human saying still held meaning. Beware the anger of a patient people. Ambassador Tanis Grant adjusted his dark blue uniform as he proceeded down the lengthy hallway toward the Grand Chamber. 2 guards from the Earth Defense Force trailed him, their expressions neutral but their attention sharp. The enormous doors of the chamber rose ahead, decorated with symbols representing the 57 member races of the Galactic Council. A decade ago, when Grant had first passed through these doors as Earth's diplomat, he had experienced amazement and satisfaction. Now he felt only determination. They're all present, sir, one guard whispered. Complete attendance as you arranged, Grant acknowledged. Remember your instructions. Regardless of what transpires, don't pull your weapons unless I'm physically assaulted. The guards understood. They grasped the significance of maintaining a peaceful appearance, even while delivering what might be the most dangerous message in human diplomatic records. The doors opened soundlessly, exposing the vast circular room beyond. Tiered seating rose in every direction, occupied by representatives from throughout the galaxy. Some appeared humanoid. Others were completely alien, hovering gas-filled bladders, crystalline formations, or multi-limbed insect beings. All turned to observe as Grant entered. At the chamber's center stood the speaker's platform, currently occupied by Archspeaker Telvin of the Morian Empire. His purple coloring and 4 eyes were typical features of his ancient race. The Morans had been founding council members 10,000 years ago. Ambassador Grant, Telvin's voice filled the chamber. The council didn't anticipate Earth's attendance today. We have numerous significant matters to address. I'm certain you do, Grant answered, his voice unwavering. I'm requesting emergency speaking rights. A whisper spread through the chamber. Emergency rights were rarely approved and permitted a speaker to address the complete council without interruption. On what basis? Telvin's upper eyes tightened. Danger to galactic peace and protection, Grant stated. Article 7, Section 3 of the Council Charter. The Archspeaker couldn't deny this without breaking the charter. Very well. The Council acknowledges Earth. Ambassador Grant, you have the platform. Grant stepped onto the central stage as Telvin moved aside, visibly irritated. The human ambassador removed a small gadget from his pocket and positioned it on the podium before him. "Members of the Galactic Council," he started, his voice now broadcast throughout the chamber. "For a decade, Earth has been a dedicated member of this organization. We have offered our innovations, opened our territories to commerce, and participated in joint protection programs." He stopped, surveying the assembled faces. Some couldn't display human-recognizable feelings, but he detected bewilderment, interest, and in several instances, mounting discomfort. "In exchange, particular members of this council have plotted against us." Grant activated a button on his gadget. Abruptly, the chamber's primary holographic screen activated. Transmissions, schemes, and gathering records materialized in the air for everyone to witness. The same coded files that Admiral Walker had obtained. These records, which we have confirmed as genuine, expose a conspiracy to assault Earth settlements within the next 48 hours. The chamber exploded with sound. Some representatives leaped to their feet in shock or fury. Others remained in stunned quiet. A handful, notably the Morans and the Vex, stayed oddly composed. Grant spoke louder over the noise. The assaults were to be masked as criminal raids, but their actual intention was obvious: to halt human growth and appropriate our innovations. The Vex representative, Commander Draz, rose. His metallic exterior reflected the chamber's illumination as he aimed an accusing finger at Grant. "These are fabrications. The human delegation is attempting to distract from their own breaches of Council innovation sharing rules." Grant smiled thinly. "If they were fabrications, Commander, how would I know about the gathering you conducted 3 days ago in the Praxis system? Or about your new protective innovation, copied from Dr. Miller's blueprints that your own researchers labeled fundamentally defective when we shared them last year?" Draz's silver features couldn't display embarrassment, but his four-fingered hand lowered slightly. "The reality," Grant continued, "is that some of you fear us. Humanity progressed too rapidly for your satisfaction. We resolved challenges in methods you didn't anticipate. We didn't follow the cautious, measured route that your races took across thousands of years." He gazed directly at Archspeaker Telvin. "And so you chose to restrain us before we became too strong to dominate." Telvin stepped forward. "These are grave charges, Ambassador Grant. Even if certain elements of the Council behaved inappropriately, certainly we can settle this through appropriate procedures." "No," Grant interrupted him. "The period for discussion has ended. Earth has empowered me to present our conditions." He touched his gadget again, and fresh text materialized on the holographic screen. 1. Instant removal of the present Council leadership and complete examination into their conduct. 2. Total compensation for damaged settlements and appropriated innovations. 3. A fresh treaty acknowledging Earth's complete independence and right to separate protection. The chamber became absolutely quiet as Grant delivered the concluding portion of his statement. "You have 24 hours to accept these conditions. If they aren't satisfied, humanity leaves the Galactic Council forever." His voice hardened. "And you would be smart to establish as much separation between yourselves and human territory as you can manage." Commander Draz laughed, the sound reverberating metallically through the silent chamber. "And what will your race accomplish against 56 others human? Your fleets are outnumbered 100 to 1. Your settlements could be turned to dust with a single command." Grant looked at the Vex commander, his demeanor calm but his gaze hard. "Run," he stated plainly. Then he retrieved his gadget, turned his back on the shocked assembly, and exited the grand chamber. His guards followed behind him, leaving complete silence behind them. 3 hours afterward, the council voted. The ultimate count. 52 members supporting rejection of Earth's unreasonable conditions, 3 abstaining, and 2 votes favoring negotiation. Archspeaker Telvin addressed the council following the vote. "The humans have obviously lost their reason. Perhaps they weren't prepared for membership regardless. We will continue with restriction actions as arranged, but expedited to stop any additional human hostility." As the representatives departed, a small insect-like creature approached the Morian leader. "Speaker Telvin, my administration is worried. What if the humans genuinely possess some concealed ability?" Their ambassador appeared extremely certain. Telvin gazed down at the representative with all 4 eyes. The humans are deceiving. They're intelligent and erratic, true, but they're still an inexperienced race. Their certainty is merely pride. Unaware to the departing council members, a human monitoring device concealed in the chamber's ornamental ceiling transmitted everything back to the waiting Earth fleet admiral. Walker obtained the council's ruling while standing on the bridge of the Relentless. He wasn't shocked. They've chosen their path, he stated to Lieutenant Reed. Transmit the signal to all Earth forces. Operation Sunflare is now completely active. Reed hesitated for just a beat. This will transform everything, sir. Walker acknowledged. Indeed it will. Let's pray they learn to run quickly. General Draz stood on the command deck of the inevitable Victory, flagship of the combined Galactic Council fleet. Surrounding him, over 200 warships traveled in flawless arrangement toward the Sol system. Most came from the Morians and the Vex, but nearly every council race had provided at least one ship to the enormous armada. Status update, Draz commanded, his metallic fingers drumming against the command station. His second-in-command, a Morian named Kelvor, approached with a data tablet. All vessels report prepared, General. We will arrive at Earth's outer protection boundary in 30 minutes, Draz acknowledged. Any indication of human opposition? None, sir. Our scouts indicate that the human protection platforms surrounding Neptune and Uranus have been deactivated. We've identified no military ships in the outer system. This wasn't what Draz had anticipated. The humans should have been mobilizing their vessels, activating their protections. Their 24-hour deadline had expired 6 hours ago. Could they have withdrawn? Kelvor questioned, his 4 eyes blinking in order. Unthinkable, Draz answered. Earth has 10 billion people. They couldn't possibly withdraw in 30 hours. But uncertainty entered his circuits. The human ambassador's single-word caution, run, replayed again in his memory banks. Proceed with vigilance, he commanded. Complete scans of the whole system. I want to locate where their vessels are concealed. The enormous fleet continued inward, crossing Neptune's orbit with no opposition. The blue gas giant's moons displayed deserted human mining operations, quickly abandoned. The situation repeated at Uranus. Sir, Kelvor stated, his voice uncertain, long-distance scans of Earth display normal population concentrations. Their orbital stations seem intact, but unoccupied. What about their military bases on Mars and their moon? The Mars defense base shows as completely staffed, but their weapon systems are inactive. The lunar base, Kelvor paused, reviewing his readings again. The lunar base is displaying odd energy patterns, nothing we've observed from humans before. Draz's silver features couldn't display emotions, but his stance stiffened. Exact location? The far side of the moon, sir. The region they call the Daedalus Crater. Continue course, but have the fleet disperse. Whatever weapon they're intending to employ, I want to reduce its impact. As the Armada approached Earth's moon, the unusual energy readings intensified. Science officers throughout the fleet reported growing gravitational disturbances. Sir, Kelvor stated abruptly, the lunar surface. It's transforming. On the primary viewing screen, the cratered surface of the moon's far side started to move. Dust and stone flowed away from a circular region nearly 50 kilometers across. Then, with a silent eruption visible even from space, the lunar surface fractured apart, exposing a huge installation underneath. Unthinkable, Draz whispered. Our intelligence indicated they possessed no innovation like this. The installation rose from the moon's surface like some immense mechanical bloom opening. Vast panels spread out, exposing what resembled enormous cannons, but they weren't aimed at the approaching fleet. They were directed at the stars. Sir, we're obtaining a transmission from Earth, Kelvor stated, his voice trembling. Display it, Draz commanded. The viewing screen transformed to display Admiral Walker standing in what seemed to be a control facility deep inside the lunar installation. Behind him, humans operated at control stations, their actions calm and methodical. General Draz, Walker stated, his voice steady, I observe the Council voted to deny our conditions. This is your last opportunity to yield, human, Draz answered. Your weapon, however remarkable, cannot halt 200 warships. Walker smiled faintly. This isn't a weapon, General. At least not one created to attack your fleet. He motioned to someone off camera, and the image changed to display a star chart of the galaxy. Multiple points of illumination pulsed on the chart. What you're observing is Project Prometheus, humanity's greatest secret. For the past 5 years, we've been constructing similar installations across human territory. The image switched back to Walker. You realize, General, while the Council was occupied appropriating our shield blueprints, you overlooked what we were actually developing. Stellar control innovation. Unthinkable, Draz repeated. No race has ever succeeded in affecting stellar bodies at a distance. Until now, Walker answered. Permit me to prove it. He activated a button on his station, and the vast cannons on the lunar surface started to radiate with blue-white power. I recommend you observe the Riel system approximately 30 light-years from your present location. Draz signaled to his science officer, who rapidly brought up an image of Riel on a secondary screen. The bright blue star appeared normal until it abruptly flared, expanding considerably brighter for multiple seconds before returning to normal. That was a focused gravitational pulse, Walker clarified. Benign in this instance, just sufficient to produce a brief disruption in the star's fusion reaction, but at increased settings, he didn't complete the statement. He didn't have to. We've positioned similar installations across human territory, Walker continued. They can speed up stellar aging, briefly stabilize expiring stars, or in severe situations, trigger supernovas, Draz completed, his mechanical voice emotionless. Walker acknowledged. Precisely. Now observe these positions. He transmitted a sequence of numbers. Kelvor rapidly entered them into the navigation system, displaying an image of a distant star system with no livable planets. As they observed, the ordinary yellow star in the system's center abruptly brightened, then erupted in a huge explosion. A stellar flare thousands of times bigger than anything natural. That star will recover to normal in approximately 12 hours, Walker stated. No lasting harm caused, but it could have been otherwise. The meaning was obvious. If humans could produce even a minor nova effect deliberately, they could destroy whole star systems. Quiet descended over the command deck of the inevitable victory. Draz's metal fingers gripped the edge of his station so firmly they created indentations. This is your final caution, General, Walker stated. Depart human territory permanently. Inform the Council that Earth is now a separate power. We will not recognize their control, and we will protect ourselves by whatever methods required. The transmission concluded, leaving the bridge in shocked quiet. Instructions, sir? Kelvor eventually questioned. Draz stared at the lunar installation, its huge cannon still radiating with power. His logical circuits measured the probabilities, evaluated the danger. Signal the fleet, he stated at last. All vessels to pull back instantly to the rendezvous coordinates outside this system. We're withdrawing? Kelvor's 4 eyes blinked quickly in surprise. For now, Draz answered. The Council must be briefed of this situation. As the enormous fleet started to reverse away from Earth, urgent transmissions arrived from throughout the galaxy. Other Council worlds had observed similar displays near their own systems. The humans hadn't just constructed one stellar control device. They had constructed dozens, all triggering at the same time. On the lunar base, Admiral Walker observed the Council fleet withdraw. Beside him, Lieutenant Reed watched the system's long-distance sensors. They're departing, sir, she stated. All 200 vessels, Walker acknowledged. But this isn't finished. The Morans and Vex won't surrender so simply. They'll return once they persuade themselves we're deceiving about the extent of our capabilities. Are we deceiving, sir? Reed questioned quietly. Walker didn't respond instantly. He gazed at the huge installation surrounding them, the achievement of Earth's finest scientific minds operating in complete secrecy. Let's pray we never have to discover, he stated finally. The urgent gathering of the Galactic Council was nothing like the organized sessions of the past. Representatives yelled over each other, some requiring instant yielding to human requirements, others demanding a complete conflict regardless of the results. Archspeaker Telvin struggled to preserve organization, his 4 eyes moving nervously around the chamber. The huge holographic screens displayed images of the human stellar control devices captured by withdrawing Council vessels. Quiet! Telvin eventually yelled. His voice increased to painful volumes. The chamber slowly quieted. "We must answer to this human danger with unity and determination," he stated when he could be heard. "Our combined forces are still enormously superior to Earth's." Representative Mira of the Lorian Confederation rose up. Unlike the Morans or Vex, the Lorians were a younger race, having joined the Council only 50 years before humans. "Superior forces signify nothing if the humans can obliterate whole star systems," she stated, her feathered crest rising in distress. "The Lorian Confederation officially withdraws from any military operations against Earth. Actually, we intend to dispatch envoys to arrange a separate peace." Shouts of betrayer and weakling filled the chamber. But Mira wasn't isolated. Individually, representatives from nearly 30 council races declared similar stances. "This is insanity," Commander Draz hissed, now representing the Vex in the council chamber. "The humans are deceiving about the extent of their capabilities. They cannot feasibly manage dozens of stellar control devices at the same time. Can we risk taking that gamble?" questioned the Trescan delegate, his translucent body pulsing with tension colors. One error could mean billions of casualties. The argument continued for hours, but the result was obvious. The council was splitting, with most races unwilling to chance additional conflict with humans. By the session's conclusion, only a group led by the Morans and Vex still supported military operations. Archspeaker Telvin and Commander Draz met privately following the session. "This is a catastrophe," Telvin stated, his coloring darkening with fury. "Centuries of council control ruined in a day." "Not yet," Draz answered, his metallic fingers tapping against the table. "The humans exposed their innovation too early. Our researchers are already examining the images. They believe the stellar control effect has serious restrictions." "Clarify." "The display was remarkable but deliberately managed. We believe the humans can only influence stars of particular types and only at particular distances. More significantly, the power needs must be vast." Telvin's upper eyes tightened. "So you still believe we should assault?" "Not the primary Earth system, not yet. But their frontier settlements are likely undefended by this innovation. If we attack rapidly enough, we can examine their capabilities and their determination." The Archspeaker contemplated this. "The Council won't permit such operations now." "Then we don't request permission," Draz stated plainly. "The Morian Empire and Vex Imperium possess sufficient vessels to initiate focused attacks. Once we reveal the humans' deception, the Council will support us again." And so, while peace envoys from dozens of races journeyed toward Earth, a secret fleet gathered in Morian territory. 3 battle divisions, each attacking a separate human colony world. New Eden, Proxima Centauri Base, and the Armstrong Mining Station. The assaults started at the same time 48 hours following the council gathering. On Earth, President Anna Foster obtained the urgent transmission in the middle of the night. The holographic screen in her bedroom displayed 3 red warnings flashing over human colony worlds. "Verified reports of Morian and Vex vessels assaulting all 3 locations," stated Defense Minister Robert Mason, his expression serious on the split screen. "Civilian losses already reported on New Eden." Foster was completely alert instantly. "Have they answered to our cautions?" "No, Madame President." "They blocked communications before assaulting." "They assume we're deceiving," Foster stated quietly. "Or they're examining which systems we can actually defend." She left bed and approached her desk, triggering her protected command interface. "Execute Defense Procedure Theta. Focus is defending civilian populations." "Understood, Madame President." "Admiral Walker is available." The President's screen transformed to display Walker at the Prometheus command facility. "Admiral, you're permitted to employ minimum required force to drive back these assaults and defend our people. Maintain civilian losses, ours and theirs, as minimal as feasible." Walker acknowledged. "Affirmative, Madam President. We've been monitoring their fleet activities since they departed Morian territory. We're prepared." "Good fortune, Admiral." Foster concluded the transmission and faced Mason. "Assemble the Defense Council instantly. This is the critical moment." Commander Draz personally directed the assault on New Eden, humanity's biggest off-Earth settlement with nearly 1 million people. His fleet of 30 warships entered orbit around the peaceful agricultural world and instantly started attacking defense installations. "Sir," his tactical officer stated, "the human protections are minimal. Their orbital platforms are already neutralized." Draz's circuits hummed with approval. "Start landing ground forces at the primary settlement. I want authority of their government facility within 2 hours." "Sir, we're identifying power surges from the planet's southern pole." Before Draz could answer, space itself appeared to bend around his fleet. Invisible forces seized the Vex vessels, restraining them in position. Warning signals blared throughout the command deck. "Gravitational distortion," yelled the science officer. "Huge localized gravity well forming." On the viewing screen, Draz observed in terror as a small black sphere materialized in space just 50 kilometers from his fleet. It pulsed with dark power, intensifying by the second. "Artificial gravity well," Draz understood too late. "Maximum reverse push, get us away." But the vessels couldn't travel. The gravity well restrained them in position while somehow not crushing them entirely. A degree of gravitational management that should have been unthinkable. A transmission interrupted the chaos, and Admiral Walker's features materialized on Draz's command screen. "Commander Draz, you appear to be experiencing propulsion difficulties." "Release our vessels instantly," Draz required. "This act of hostility." "Hostility?" Walker's voice was dangerously soft. "You assaulted a peaceful settlement. There are youngsters on New Eden." Before Draz could answer, Walker continued. "Your vessels are now restrained by focused gravity fields. They will stay there until our transport ships have relocated every civilian from the planet. Then you will be guided out of human territory." At that instant, reports arrived from the other battle divisions. The same situation was occurring at all 3 settlements. Morian and Vex vessels trapped in artificial gravity wells, unable to travel or battle, but the humans weren't finished. As Draz observed helplessly, small, rapid vessels materialized from behind New Eden's moon. They weren't warships. They resembled more like maintenance ships, but they transported something far more threatening than weapons. "Sir," his tactical officer's voice trembled, "the human ships are attaching gadgets to our vessel's exteriors." Within 30 minutes, every Morian and Vex vessel in all 3 systems had been marked with small, blinking gadgets. Walker's features reappeared on the screen. "Those are tracking beacons connected to our stellar control network. If any of your vessels ever enter human territory again, we'll know precisely where to aim a gravitational pulse." The statement was obvious. Even without obliterating the assaulting fleets, humans had successfully neutralized them as dangers. "This isn't finished, human," Draz stated, his mechanical voice cold. "Actually, Commander," Walker answered, "it is." "Observe your secondary screen," Draz did, and what he observed froze his circuits. Throughout Morian and Vex territory, their military bases, shipyards, and protection platforms were methodically shutting down or exploding. Precision attacks from weapons nobody had identified. "Faster than light assault drones," Walker clarified. "Another innovation we kept to ourselves. Your military framework will require years to reconstruct." His demeanor hardened. "Time you can utilize to reconsider your stance on peaceful coexistence." The transmission concluded, leaving Draz staring at the silent command deck of his immobilized flagship, confronting the greatest defeat in Vex records. 6 months had elapsed since the unsuccessful assaults on human settlements. The huge space station where the Galactic Council had gathered for thousands of years now floated vacant and dark. In its position, a fresh meeting location had been created. Neutral ground, an asteroid habitat, constructed specifically for the new period of interstellar relations, unlike the old council chambers with their tiered, seating that positioned ancient races. Like the Morians literally above the newer members, neutral ground featured a perfectly circular table. No position was higher or more prominent than any other. Ambassador Thomas Grant stood by the large viewing portal, observing as vessels from throughout the galaxy arrived for the historic first gathering of what was being named the Interstellar Alliance. Behind him, his aide examined notes on a data device. 32 races have verified attendance, she stated, including surprisingly the Morans and Vex. Grant acknowledged. Not surprising at all. They have no option but to adjust. Their military strength is shattered. Their economy is in ruins. The entrance opened and Admiral Walker stepped into the room. He had retired from active duty 2 weeks earlier, but President Foster had requested him to attend this gathering as a special consultant. "How does civilian life suit you, Admiral?" Grant questioned with a smile. Walker shrugged. "I'm still adjusting. My wife claims I keep attempting to give commands to our house computer." Both men laughed, but there was an underlying worry. The choices made today would influence human relations with alien races for generations to come. "Are we doing the correct thing?" Grant questioned quietly. "We could require compensation, territorial gains. We possess the advantage." Walker gazed out at the stars. "That's what the Morans would do, or the Vex, but then we'd just be substituting one group of oppressors with another." Grant acknowledged slowly. "A fresh type of relationship, then, not founded on fear or control?" "Precisely. That's why we're here." The gathering chamber filled slowly as representatives from 32 former council races took their positions around the circular table. The atmosphere was worried with former adversaries now seated beside each other out of requirement. Grant took his position at the table with Walker standing behind him. Opposite from them sat Arch-Speaker Telvin, his purple coloring now paler, his stance less assured than before. Commander Draz was clearly missing, substituted by a younger Vex representative. "Representatives of the galaxy's separate worlds," Grant started. "Thank you for joining us today. 6 months ago, the old system collapsed. The Galactic Council, for all its accomplishments, had become rotten at its foundation. He activated a control, and holographic images materialized above the table. Confidential records, hidden gathering recordings, proof of centuries of exploitation. It wasn't just humans who were attacked," Grant continued. "We discovered proof that the Council leadership deliberately exploited younger races, appropriated their innovations, and restricted their progress." Whispers spread around the table. Many representatives leaned forward, attention fixed on the revealing proof. The Lorians were blocked from expanding to 3 livable worlds in their own system, Grant stated, acknowledging Representative Mira. The Trescans were refused critical medical innovation that could have rescued millions during the plague years. The catalog continues. Telvin moved uncomfortably but stayed silent. "Today we suggest a fresh type of interstellar relationship," Grant continued. "Not a council where some govern over others, but an alliance of peers, where innovation is offered rather than hoarded, where conflicts are resolved through open discussion, not secret arrangements." Grant described the suggested framework: rotating leadership, transparent voting, joint scientific missions, and mutual protection agreements that defended all members equally. When he completed, the chamber was silent for an extended moment. Then Representative Mira rose. "The Lorian Confederation supports this suggestion," she stated firmly. "We have existed too long beneath the shadow of the ancient empires." Individually, representatives expressed their support. Some were eager, others hesitant, but the momentum was obvious. Eventually, only Telvin stayed silent. All attention turned to the Morian. "Arch-Speaker Telvin," Grant stated. "The Morian Empire has much to offer to a peaceful galaxy, but only as peers, not as governors." Telvin's 4 eyes blinked slowly. "For 10,000 years, the Morans directed the younger races. We preserved peace, stopped conflicts, guaranteed stability." "At what price?" Walker spoke for the first time. "You suppressed innovation. You maintained races reliant on you. You played favorites and disciplined those who progressed too rapidly." "Like humans," Telvin recognized. "You accomplished in centuries what required us thousands of years. It alarmed us." The acknowledgement appeared to cost the Morian physically. His shoulders drooped. "The old council is finished," he stated finally. "The Morian Empire will join your alliance as peers. We have much to discover about partnership." Later, as the representatives celebrated the historic arrangement, Walker and Lieutenant Reed stood separated from the gathering. "It functioned," Reed stated quietly. "I still can't believe it functioned," Walker acknowledged. "Humans have always been skilled at deceiving." Reed gazed at him sharply. "Sir?" Walker smiled faintly. "Project Prometheus was genuine. The stellar control innovation functions precisely as we displayed. but he glanced around to guarantee nobody was listening. We only constructed 3 GAA